Hello, fellow architects, interior designers, technologists, and welcome all. I am Andrew, the co-founder and CEO of CAD, and on today's video, I want to do a little wrap up of 2024. So I've got a bit of a laundry list here of all the things that we kind of achieved and did and tried to do, and yeah, I thought it might be good to kind of go back and have a look at all those things, the good, the bad, the ugly. This is, going to be, yeah, kind of a full list, whether things were successful or not, and a general look at, yeah, the roller coaster that we've been on this year. I suppose to start off with, it's been a very difficult year. 2024 economically has been by far the toughest year that CAD has ever had to go through. Yeah, the first couple of years, this is actually our third year in business. So the first couple of years, starting any business is very difficult to begin with. Yeah, I mean, surprisingly, the economy was actually doing much better during those first couple of years that CAD-COW's been open. And, this year hasn't been that way. So that kind of brings me to the first topic is just the sort of economic difficulties we've been through this year. I think at the start of the year, we seemed to notice that inflation was causing, the main headaches. So we're in the architecture and interior design industry. We are essentially a staffing support platform for that industry. So if the industry is doing really well, there's lots of projects, there's lots of things being built, there's lots of new projects coming online. Firms like architecture and interior design firms obviously need a lot more help to produce the work needed for those projects. But if those projects aren't coming online, then simply, companies don't need the manpower to drive those projects forwards, or to work on, to have people to work on those projects. So inflation really seemed to affect the construction industry, and that that really caused some headaches for us economically. We were really struggling to get people assigned to companies to work on their projects. A big theme that I keep hearing, or I've kept hearing the whole year, is that companies are still just waiting for their projects to come online. They're waiting for the green light to be given. They're waiting for their clients to get funding for their projects. And yeah, that seems to have been the common thread of 2024, is just we're all waiting for projects to come online. Interest rate rises kind of, at the beginning of the year as well, and sort of, through the middle of the year were certainly, a factor that sort of kept these projects, being on hold. Developers and, clients in general of our clients, of our architecture and interior design firms, their clients, seemingly were waiting for the interest rates to drop. And now that they have started to drop, we have started to see a bit of a pickup again, thankfully, in the projects kind of coming online, and a bit more interest from firms to kind of engage with new people on the platform, to add people to their team. But I mean, it has by no means improved to a point where we feel confident, that in our economic stability, our financial stability. So, it's really affected the industry throughout the whole year. This kind of big overarching, economic climate has really made it tough to do business in 2024. And we're still kind of seeing, waiting to see if things improve. I think, the elections in the US, there was a lot of uncertainty around that. We've got elections coming up in Canada. Seemingly, people are waiting to know what's kind of going to happen there. Both of those kind of political situations in both Canada and the US seem to have driven just a lot of uncertainty, and that's kind of holding things back as well. So I'm hoping 2025, now, with some, with some political, I don't know if would call it stability in the US, but, at least we kind of know where we're at with things kind of for the future now. Hopefully that will drive some, an upturn economically. And I'll kind of get to that in a bit as we talk about the development and our expansion to the US, because it's going to start to affect us. Although, Canada being so closely tied to the US, we are very affected by what is happening south of the border anyway. At the start of the year, we also attended the IDS show in Toronto, the Interior Design Show in Toronto, and that was really cool. It was our first time as a business being at some sort of promotional event live and in person, and that was really cool to just meet people face to face. I mean, we're a remote access company, so we do basically everything online. We just meeting people over the screen, via Microsoft Teams. That's kind of our normal situation. So being in person and actually meeting some of our clients in person was a really cool experience, and kind of gave us a feel for like maybe how we could integrate into those conferences and trade events and things in the future. So it kind of gave us some ideas. We also had we were geared up at the beginning of the year to be actually a top tier sponsor for one of the major architecture associations. And sadly, that all fell through, and it was agonizing. It was so disappointing. We had worked for months on, basically our sponsorship and attendance at that conference event. And it all fell through at the last minute, and it was really out of our control. It was really disappointing. The architecture industry is something that we are very invested in. Both of the partners of CAD Cow are architects, and this industry is one that we certainly care deeply about. And we were planning on bringing a lot of value to that event, and it just sort of seemed that the powers that be just weren't in alignment with who we were and us, and it was really sad that we couldn't be there. We actually even had built or had made for us our mascot Charlie, so he was going to. Charlie was going to debut at that event as well. So sadly, we have a life-size Charlie costume that was going to be unveiled, and that was going to be a really cool part of that event. And I think a lot of people would have had a lot of fun meeting Charlie and interacting with Charlie. But sadly, maybe we can bring up a little picture somewhere here of what Charlie would have looked like. That all sort of fell through. So nothing's a given. I mean, we tried so hard for that to happen, but and we really fought hard to be there, but it just wasn't meant to be. But another thing we tried this year is a co-working space. So Giancarlo, my business partner, he's the other co-founder of CAD Cow. We tried working in the same space together. So we kind of rented a co-working office space. And to be honest, it didn't really work out for us. We were so used to working remotely, sort of having to commute into an office space every day, that extra time, that extra hassle of leaving a home working environment, was just inconvenient, and it wasn't ideal, and it certainly didn't add anything. Having an office space certainly didn't add anything to our business. We operate very effectively remotely. It was a small space as well, so trying to conduct meetings, together and separately, and kind of coordinating that and taking phone calls and everything. It just didn't really work out, and just goes to show you that we as a company work best fully remote access. So that was kind of a really interesting little experiment. So we are certainly by no means rushing to get an office space now that COVID has moved on, we work very well remotely. A little tidbit, we actually moved banks. I mean, this is probably pretty boring, but it's a bit of a heads up, I suppose. We actually moved from CIBC to RBC with our business banking. I would certainly not recommend a CIBC. CIBC is a very old school, antiquated bank. They take so long to get anything done. With us being such a fast moving company, it was just really not working for us. We tried banking with them for a couple of years, and yeah, it was just painful, absolutely painful experience. We've since moved to RBC, and it's been much better. They are much quicker and more effective as a bank. They're more technologically advanced as well for online and e-commerce. Yeah, it's just been a much better experience. And yeah, we have also expanded to doing banking with them in the USA as well. So that's been really good as well. It's been very easy to set things up comparatively to CIBC. And yeah, their whole online internet banking between Canada and the US, and our Canadian and US bank accounts, it's been much better. So I would certainly recommend going with RBC. If anyone wants to do any banking in general, I would stay away from CIBC. We tried to go after a lot of funding this year. So CDAP was one of the big programs that we pushed for 2024. And I must admit our experience of the CDAP program was not positive. It was a bit of a nonsense program. I think it needs to have, like a lot of these funding programs, they have good intentions, but the reality is that they take way too much human resourcing power to actually get them through. And by the time you spend so much time and money yourself investing in those programs, the actual economic value you get back from them in the end barely even covers what you invested in them. So for CDAP, it was this digital adoption program. So it was essentially designed to help companies become more technologically advanced and kind of built for an online environment. And we are certainly already very much that. So we thought it was going to be really good for us to sort of help improve things. It was, the first part of it was $15,000, but essentially all we did was hand that money from the government to a CDAP advisor that then gave us this kind of lengthy report on all the things that they suggest we could do. And to be honest, that report was very lacking. It was a lot of stuff we kind of already knew and we were already aware of, and we didn't really see the value in what they were proposing either. So obviously we as a company didn't get any value from that. We were hoping then it kind of leads on to a wage subsidy and then a loan with the BDC. So the wage subsidy, by the time we actually were ready to hire people, to help us with implementing some of the things in that program, in that digital adoption plan, the wage subsidy actually went on hold. So all of that time and effort was absolutely pointless and completely wasted, because by the time everything got in alignment and we were about to submit to hire some people to get the wage subsidy, they had just put the wage subsidy on hold. So we just completely missed out on it. Another one was with the BDC loan. So it was an interest-free loan, and that was kind of looking really promising. And we thought, we've kind of basically been pre-approved for it, but no, it turns out that we just didn't get approved for it in the end. So that was $50,000 of interest-free loans that was really going to help us to develop the platform and develop the business in general. And the rug just got pulled out from under us. So that was a joy. So another fund that we went for, or funding that we went for, was with CAN Export. And once again, it was a hell of a lot of time and energy invested from us internally into this. Although we were working with a funding consultant, a grant consultant, it was still so much back and forth with them. And if I calculated the time that I spent on trying to get that funding, it probably wouldn't cover my costs. So this is sort of a bit of a word of warning, for people out there looking to get government grants and funding. Just be aware that they take so much time and effort that in some ways it's might not be worth actually going for them. Having said that, it did help us fund some of the development of our platform this year. We actually went for $50,000. That would have meant that we would have actually had to have put in $50,000 ourselves. So in some ways, it might have been a blessing that we didn't get the full amount of funding that we had asked for. But we were left with half of what we asked for, which meant we had to probably put in about $25,000 to fund the project ourselves. As well. So it basically reduced our whole project in half. So all the stuff that we had planned, and we'd done so much time and effort planning out what it is we wanted to achieve with our CAN Export funding that we had applied for, basically half of it had to go. And that's just really painful for a young company like us to be to be investing all this time and energy, taking our focus away from running the business and making sales and all these fundamental parts of operating the business, and we're turning that attention to trying to get this funding. You got to question whether it's worth it or not. And I think, kind of looking back now and looking forward as well to the future, we are not going to be putting so much time and effort into sort of chasing these grants and funding. There's a couple of good ones out there which I'm going to touch on in a bit, but the CAN Export was a bit of hit and miss, really. Although it did help us, somewhat to fund, version 0.3.0 of the platform, which I'll get to in a second. One of the saddest parts of this year is, because of the economic struggles we've been having, is that we've had to let go quite a lot of our internal team. And they have been a lot of great people, and I won't mention names, but it was really sad and really hard for John and I to, have to make that decision to let people go. It's never a nice thing. And I just hope maybe 2025 we can actually kind of get some of those people back. But we're still waiting to see if, we can make that happen. But their contribution was certainly appreciated, and and it was certainly obviously no fault of their own. It's just, we didn't have enough capital to keep them on. So that's just one of the harsh realities of business, I suppose. One of the big achievements for us this year, however, was our US launch. So that included incorporating in the USA. It included updating our user agreement as well. So obviously, coming back to incorporation in the USA, that's no small feat, although it was made very easy by our payment provider, Stripe. They have a great program called Atlas that helps people incorporate in the USA. But that was a huge undertaking. The user agreements as well, meeting with both our Canadian legal advisors and our US legal advisors, and getting them to collaborate together to format a new user agreement for our platform that would work for users in Canada, users in the US, and users internationally. Just was another major step for us to make. So that was really cool. So the update to the e-commerce part of the platform to enable cross-border payments between Canada, the US, and globally has been such a major milestone for us to achieve. It certainly took a lot of innovation, genuine innovation, from our platform to developers to actually get all that to work. Although Stripe is an amazing service provider when it comes to facilitating payments online, they didn't have the complex system that we really needed to make it all happen in the way that our business operates. And in the way that both sides of our platform, the users on either side of our platform work together. So kudos to Web4U. They're our platform developers in Mississauga. They have done a fantastic job this year with such a complex development of our platform, to expand, to help us expand into the US and facilitate those kind of e-commerce payments. I mean, I don't want to kind of get into all the details, but it was quite the undertaking. So outside of Canada as well, the professionals who are outside of Canada, kind of internationally and obviously in the US, are now able to charge clients in US dollars. So previously, we're obviously, we're a Canadian company originally. We have done a lot of work, obviously, with making payments, within Canada, and obviously that comes with the Canadian dollar. But that doesn't always, isn't always the preference for people internationally. The US dollar is obviously much better received internationally. So all the professionals that are now, outside of Canada can now earn, earn in US dollars, which is much preferred by them. So that's really cool. So there's been 1,001 things with this US expansion as well. I mean, I don't want to go into it, but all of our standard operating procedures throughout the company have all had to be updated. We've done lots of changes and updates to our marketing. I mean, we're trying to market to a new market in the US, so that's been a huge undertaking. All the financial changes as well, setting up, bank accounts and things in the US has been, it's just been another item that needed taken care of. And, just general website updates. So we've obviously got our platform, but then we've got a website that supports the platform, and all the information there needed to kind of be updated for the US as well. It has been super exciting, though, to see our first kind of US client engage a professional. And it just so happens that the professional they engaged with was based in Canada. So, from an opportunity standpoint, I mean, this is I think has huge potential for people within Canada and the US to kind of collaborate and work together, and for opportunities to flourish, right? So this professional that was in Canada wouldn't have had access to working with this really cool New York based architecture firm unless CAD existed. So that's kind of it's bringing our vision to life, and the dream that we had of connecting people across borders and also internationally, which I'll get onto in a second, is really, really cool for us to see. So that was a major milestone. We wanted to expand into the US, and we got our first client, and we paired them with someone great to work with in Canada, of all places, and that was really cool to see. So we've also had an international client and an international professional working together. So that was really cool to see as well. So it was actually a company in Spain. They're now working with a professional in Brazil. And once again, that connection would not have been possible without CAD. That relationship is now many months old, and they're still continuing to work together, and it's going really well. So that's such a cool success story, and such a cool validation of our business model and our vision for what CAD Cow can be. It's just this whole US development, expanding to the US means we can expand kind of globally as well. So for all the users of the platform, all the professionals and all the clients, all the companies, we are just very excited for 2025 to see where that kind of takes the business to, and just the amount of opportunities that could potentially open up for everyone involved is really promising. As part of the US expansion, development of the platform, we have now completed version 0.3.0, and there was a few point 1, 2, 3, 4s, in that version 3 as well. So much has been done on the development of the platform. It's been obviously continuing to go throughout the year. Countless little changes and iterations and updates and things just to make it generally better. I mean, that has been really, really cool. I won't go into them all. I'm going to put an update on cadcow.com. I think it's under the more information. There's a page about the beta version of our platform and what version 3 was going to be like. So that's really cool. Invoicing and the usage tracking has probably been one of the biggest things you can visually see on the platform, between clients and professionals, how the invoicing, the usage, the transparency on both sides, that whole kind of component had so much work done on it. That's probably the biggest visual thing. But behind the scenes, kind of in the back end and with our payment provider, all the e-commerce that came with making international and cross-border payments has just been a massive, massive undertaking. I do want to break now and maybe kind of go to showing some of the amazing renderings that we've had the privilege of producing this year. We've had so many amazing clients with really cool projects, and what you're kind of seeing now is a bit of a snippet, some of the highlights of those renderings. It's just an auxiliary service that is offered on CAD Cow. Our amazing team of CGI artists have done such a fantastic job of not only producing great renderings, but also just providing fantastic service to clients as well. So kudos to John. He operates and oversees the rendering department, and it is really singing this year. The efficiency and effectiveness of that team is really cool to see. And as you can see by, these are renderings. It's been great to work with those clients, and great to see such awesome and cool work coming through, and that we get to be a part of it. So that's a real privilege. So now on to the new year, and economically, we certainly hope it's going to be a much better year. This has been by far the toughest year CAD Cow's had to go through, as I mentioned. We are very hopeful for a really good shred claim to finish out 2024. That funding is probably the best funding I could possibly recommend. If you're doing something innovative, definitely look into shred. You have to be sort of really pushing the envelope like we are, and particularly for our platform. We're doing a lot of cool new stuff that's kind of never been done before, shred claims for research and development, and creating new stuff, new cool and innovative solutions to problems. That's on offer, and we've been very successful with shred the last couple of years, and we're hoping that yeah, Shred for 2024 is going to give us a little financial boost to go into 2025. For platform development, Stripe Connect is a big one. So we've done a lot of work this year setting up the framework to be Stripe Connect enabled. Essentially what that means is it will close the payment loop. So right now, we're able to take payments from clients, and we're able to process those payments within cadcad.com, and we're able to then generate the right invoices and records and things, but actually paying out funds to the other user groups on the platform, like professionals, is still very much a manual process that we do behind the scenes. And we've constantly been trying to do various iterations to try to improve that part of paying people, or getting the money, getting the funds to the right people. But we're still doing it very manually. So even though we're trying to increase the speed in which people get and receive their money, Stripe Connect would just make that even better. So that would kind of close the loop, and our online payments provider would handle all sides or all aspects of the transfer of money between parties. So Stripe Connect is something we're looking at for next year. I think as well, this past year, as we've come out of the pandemic and things have really kind of gotten, much more back to normal, during 2024, we're seeing a lot of interest in employing people again. And although, there hasn't been a lot of, companies seemingly adding people to the team, if they do, it seems to be on an employment basis. So, as much as, we try to push the remote access, independent contractor kind of relationship, and there's many, many benefits to be doing that, to adding people to your team as independent contractors. Employment still seems to sort of be the gold standard. So, we are moving, I suppose, generally to being a general staffing solution for the architecture and interior design industry. And we've got some ideas on how we can expand and make that even bigger, and maybe even go beyond this industry that we've started in. But definitely looking at employment options for companies and professionals is something that we're going to be chasing a little bit more. And, we have this past year partnered with a recruitment agency that can help enable and facilitate the employment of professionals. So if you are a company, an architecture firm, interior design firm, and you do want to employ people, you would prefer to do that rather than engage with independent contractors, we are able to facilitate that opportunity. So if you're looking to add people to your team as employees, definitely think of CAD-CAL. Those people on the platform, there is opportunity to employ them as employees. So with all this stuff that we've been doing this year, as you can probably tell, it was incredibly busy. There was a lot of stuff going on, and in some ways there was a lot of distractions. There was things that worked out. There was certainly things that didn't work out. But for 2025, we want to put a strong focus on sales and making money. Although all the grants and all the funding and all that sort of stuff sort of sounds promising, it's certainly not guaranteed, as you can probably tell. And what is probably better for us to focus on is the core of our business, and actually just making real sales and generating real income and finding real opportunities. So we are certainly going to reduce the amount that we are taking on so we can focus on those core aspects, like just making sales. So that kind of is the wrap up for 2024. we are very excited by what 2025 has to offer. It's a brand new year with brand new opportunities, and we're going to be hitting the ground running in January. And I just wanted to take this opportunity as well to say a big thank you to all the amazing clients that have used CAD/CAO, all the amazing professionals that have subscribed this year. It's been really great to find opportunities and things for those people. I mean, we can never find enough opportunities. I'm sure there's plenty of professionals out there that are still looking for opportunities, and we really hope we can help make those happen in 2025 and make the CAD/CAO platform even more value for everyone who uses it. So a big thank you to everyone who uses cadcow.com. We couldn't do it without you. We really welcome your feedback as well. We are constantly learning and iterating, and real world feedback and real candid opinions about what CAD/CAO is, what it could be, what it should be, ideas on our future development are certainly welcome. So please send them my way. By all means, head over to cadcow.com. There's lots of ways for you to get in touch with us. So feel free to reach out to us at any time. And if you are still hanging on to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. That really goes a long way to helping increase the audience on these videos and to get the word out there to other architects, interior designers, technologists, to allow them to find CAD/CAO and to access some cool opportunities as well. So have a great holiday season, everyone. Thank you so much for being part of 2024, and I look forward to working and talking with you in the new year. Thanks so much. Catch you next time. Bye.